The transition from being your own boss, the funny part is when I started my shop, I'm gonna take a Saturday off. I'm gonna go spend it with my girlfriend. We're gonna have a good weekend, all this kind of stuff. And it turned into me sleeping at the shop 3 days in a row to finish projects, not going home for days on end. You want weekends off and time off to spend with your family? Do not start a business.
Are you wrapping cars more than 12 hours a day, every day? Working nonstop but can barely get by? Burnout, missing deadlines, and wondering just how much longer you can keep this up?
That was us too. We started our wrap shop buried under $250,000 in debt, and it felt absolutely impossible. But we dug out, built a profitable shop, and are still in the trenches of owning and operating a wrap shop. We're here to share what we learned along the way so that you don't make the same mistakes that we did.
And we're here to help you with the business side of the wraps, like pricing, building a team, streamlining your systems, ultimately so that you can run your shop and your shop stops running you.
Welcome to the Wrap Ops Podcast, brought to you by Wrap Fam Unleashed. Today, we're coming at you with a killer episode. This might be one of my favorite interviews I've ever done. We sat down with Kado from Tint Wiz. Tint Wiz is a CRM app that will help you manage your business and the productions inside of it. And he had such an inspiring and amazing story about how he went from a business owner to working for Tint Wiz, which I think is an avenue that a lot of you guys may not be thinking about. Maybe this whole owning a business thing isn't what it cracked up to be, and maybe you're thinking to transition to how can you provide value to a company within the industry. Well, if that sounded like you, then you definitely want to stay tuned for this conversation because it was awesome. Kado, welcome to the show. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. Appreciate it.
I appreciate it. So we're going to dive right into getting this episode started. Can you tell me about yourself and how did you get started in, I guess, the tent space, or we can just go into the vinyl space altogether? Where did you start?
Absolutely. So I started early, I want to say 2016 was kind of the first time I got hands-on with material. That was thanks to Justin Pate, watching his videos back at the Rap Institute in the early days. So shout out to Justin Pate. And from there, I was working in the oil field back then, driving transports. I was really unhappy. It was a stressful position. Sure. The management was really poor. It was a very toxic place to work. And so when I started getting my hands on vinyl, I started doing taillight tinting, doing decals and stickers for friends and family. We then transitioned from that to then applying for an installer position at a local sign shop.
Okay.
And that sign shop hired me based off of the willingness to learn, my presence, who I was as a human. I was kind, I was eager to learn, and I was willing to take a risk on them as well. Okay. And so they took a risk on me, and it worked out for the both of us.
And this is in Canada?
This was back in Canada, yeah. So this was in Alberta when I lived there. My hometown is back in Ontario. Okay. But I lived there for 6 years, and part of that was working at the sign shop. And that boss, I actually just ran into her about 10 minutes ago.
Nice.
So they're here as well. And then from there, I worked for probably about a year. And then I moved back home to Ontario. I started my own wrap shop. So we did wraps, we did graphics, we did signs, printed material, PPF, tint, ceramic coating. So we did everything.
Basically anything that's sticky.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's the hard part about Canada or colder climate places is you have that super slow season.
Yes.
And you have to add these services or really, really simplify your business to the point where you have less overhead.
Sure.
We had lots of overhead, so I had to add more services. So I did that for about 4.5 years. And in between that time, probably like early year one, like probably 3 months into the business, I realized that we needed a system in place to make my business run more efficiently. So I started using an app called Tint Wiz, which is a CRM software.
Sure.
4.5 years later, they called me out of the blue. By that time, we had become friends. Called me out of the blue. They offered me a position to come work for them, close my shop down.
Wow.
Work full time.
Close it down over. That must have been a good offer.
It was a very good offer.
Yeah.
Very thankful. I mean, we had kind of, in my opinion, peaked in our city. It was, the only room for growth at that point was to open up a second location somewhere. And I didn't want to have more headache. Actually, the boss that I was just talking about that's here said, listen, like if you open up a second location, you are going to double all of the stress, all of the anxiety, all the bills, all the overhead. Are you ready for that? The answer was no.
Sure.
So I took the offer, and I've been extremely happy the last 2.5 years working
Nice.
for them, and it's just been a good transition.
Sweet. So to go back to what you just said, how did you have the relationship with Tint Wiz to progress to a job offer? Were you reaching out saying, I'm looking to work for you guys, or did you have a lot of contact with someone there, or how did that happen?
Yeah, so my big thing was always content. So I'm a very introvert kind of person. Over the years, you would not know that because all I do is mostly travel to events, and
Sure.
I am the face of most videos.
Yeah.
And I knew early on in my business that when you don't have money, the biggest thing you can do is post on social media. It's free, absolutely free. That's your best marketing strategy, number one. So we started posting a lot of content when I had my wrap shop. We were seen as the professionals in our local area because we were popping up on everyone's socials. I was talking to them, giving them tips on how to use a clay bar to get rust off of their car, or
Okay.
little rust stains or
So
something.
more like educational type
Exactly.
videos, face the camera, talking.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep. Install videos too, like
Sure.
thirst traps of like how to wrap a door handle or something like that.
Everyone loves the door handle, the door cup.
For real. Exactly. So
Yeah.
all that stuff allowed us to grow over the first year
Okay.
tremendously
Sure.
because of socials, which were absolutely free. And then from there, obviously posting, tagging Tint Wiz, they would start resharing my stuff, started building that relationship.
So you tagged Tint Wiz just because you were using that
We're using
CRM,
the
so it was just
software.
another let's tag
Exactly.
it, see if they repost it type thing.
100%.
Okay, got it.
And when they did, it was a big surprise because you're like this little shop in the middle of nowhere, especially in Canada, and they're reposting your stuff. So it makes you feel really special. And they would start sending us stuff like a tin keg. They would send us a tin keg and say, here's one for you. If you want to do a video and do a giveaway for someone in the industry, do that as well. They'd send the tools. And so the value of the team behind Tint Wiz
Sure.
was massive. And so when we started posting this stuff, they reached out, Eric specifically, my boss, reached out to me personally and said, listen, I see how well you do with your business and with social media. I would really be honored if you would go to WFCT and compete for Tint Wiz. We'll pay fully paid sponsorship. We'll pay for your flights, your hotel, your competition. Enjoy.
Okay.
So I flew to WFCT. It was my first, I would say, my first adult trip
Yeah.
by myself outside of Canada. So
Yeah.
when I was a kid, I went to Florida 2 or 3 times. I went to Italy to see family when I was 16. So this was my first adult trip
Man,
to
all
San
paid
Antonio.
for.
All paid for.
That's awesome.
And I'll throw in there that they did fly me first class, which
Really?
was like the
Wow.
whole experience.
Okay.
And that's what Tint Wiz is really about. And we still are about that, is the experience to the users. We like giving stuff away. We like adding value to people's lives. And so he reached out to me. Do you want to go on this trip? I said yes. I think a month before the trip, I went and got a tattoo of the Tint Wiz logo because I was very dedicated.
Wow.
Yes.
That's
I was
crazy.
locked in.
Yeah, they had you.
When people add value to people's lives like that, like it's a stranger, complete stranger.
Yeah.
They're taking a risk on me, just sending me out to compete and represent their brand, not even working for them. So that meant a lot to me. And
You're
so,
like their athlete at that time.
yes,
Like they were
I'm like their Michael
go
Jordan.
compete for us.
Yeah,
very
100%.
cool.
And we
Okay.
sponsor hundreds of people, like over the last 5 years,
Sure.
hundreds of people. And so, it was nothing like special in the terms of like I was their only person they ever sponsored. It
Yeah.
was very normal. But
That's a
it
really
was,
interesting marketing play.
Yeah,
to
absolutely.
sponsor. I don't think I would have ever thought of that. To like sponsor an installer, you think find a car
Yeah.
to sponsor the car, and then
Right.
it doesn't go anywhere. This is such a like light bulb going off in my head
Absolutely.
of sponsoring an installer.
It's huge. And I mean,
Yeah.
it's really big so obviously we're at ISA, which is very rap sign related.
Sure.
Most of the events that we attend are all tint PPF related,
Mm-hmm.
not really rap related or sign related, of course. And a lot of the manufacturers from those companies sponsor people. Like most of the people that go to those events are sponsored by companies.
Yeah.
And so you're repping their shirts, you're repping their brand.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big, cool experience. And so from there, I met Eric in person, showed him the tattoo. I was so nervous to meet him that when I was recording the reveal, my camera was pointing in the opposite direction. So
Really?
all I got was audio.
The reveal of your tattoo to
yes,
him.
yeah.
And how smart that you were like, I'm going to make this into content.
Absolutely.
You're on.
Everything's
Okay.
content,
Yeah, very cool.
all day,
Okay.
every day. And so we hit it off.
Mm-hmm.
Great relationship. And then from that point, we just started building our relationship more and more. He invited me to go to more events. And when I go to an event or when someone does something for me, I always want to give more than than they've given me, as much as I possibly can, if I can. And so when I go to these events, most people that are sponsored, they are showing up, they're going out to party, they're doing their thing, they're showing up the next morning, they're competing, and then they leave and they walk around the event, and that's it.
Yes.
That's the value. Not that that's a bad thing. Do whatever you want to do.
That's just kind of baseline
100%.
of what's expected of you.
Right. And my baseline of what's expected of me is to continue to give value. And so when I'd show up here to compete, I would go in, I would help set up the booth, I would help tear it down, I'd help wrap the floors, I would like anything and everything. I'm like, do you need me? What do you need? What do you need? What do you need? And that's just who I am. And so I think that played a big role in him seeing the value in who I am. And yeah, then randomly, I think it was like early November, 2.5 years ago, he called me up. I texted him and I said, hey, there's something going on with the app. There's like, I clicked this button and it's doing this. And he's like, cool, it's done, it's fixed. It was a little glitch.
Can I pause you?
Yeah, absolutely.
How long is the time gap from this conversation to showing the tattoo? Are we a month later, or 2 years later? Or?
So yeah, about 2 years. So 2021 is when
2 years of helping promote them through.
Go to different competitions.
I just am trying to paint a picture of this. Didn't happen overnight.
Yeah, not an overnight success story.
Yeah.
Everything does take time.
Sure.
And so text him about that, and then he calls me and he's like, hey, like, where do you see yourself in 5 to 10 years? I was like, that's a great question. I never really thought about that. I was like, I really don't know. I feel like we've peaked in our city. I don't really want to add more headache to my life. I don't want to expand.
Because you were at this, I want to open the second shop? That's where we're at now.
Like financially, we're not doing the best, but like I feel like we can't bring in more work. I need to find employees. I can't find employees. It's hard to train people. It's hard to, everything about it was just coming to this tipping point almost, the bubbling over a little bit. And I said, you know what, honestly, like I love training people. I like doing content. I like traveling. I like just adding value to people's life. One thing I will never do is be a salesperson. I hate selling people on stuff. I like educating people on stuff.
And that's almost more important sometimes, to know what you hate.
Absolutely.
So you're just like, I can do anything but this.
Exactly.
That'll make me miserable.
Set your boundaries.
Yeah.
Right? Like you don't want to go into something just because it sounds like a good opportunity. You want to put yourself in a position that, 6 months down the road, you're going to hate your life because you put yourself out there. And so I said, you know what, maybe work for a film brand and do trainings or, go around, do content at events or anything that I can do like that. But I'm not going to be a sales rep for a film brand. And he said, all right, cool. What do you think about, he's like, there's no position that exists. At that time, it was him and the developer. So it was like super small staff.
Okay.
There was no real employees other than contractors. And he's like, how would you like to be like Tint Wiz's first employee? And we'll bring you on full time. Let's talk numbers. Let's make it work for you, make it work for us. And I want to lock you in for at least 3 years, because if you're shutting down your shop, I want to make sure that you feel comfortable coming to us and ensuring that you're not, going to be out of a job in a year. If you decide to leave, that's totally up to you. But I'm locking you in for 3 years. I was like, all right, perfect. That sounds great. Talked to my girlfriend, talked about the numbers and everything. Everything made sense. And I was like, done deal. I stopped taking appointments that week.
Wow.
Did the month that I had booked out already, did all those projects. And then I had committed to any warranty problems that would come up in the next, year or whatever until they faded away. And that's what I did. And then now we're 2.5 years into it.
So what exactly is your role right now with Tint Wiz?
So my role with Tint Wiz is the head of brand and growth. So right now, again, it's Eric, my boss, and then I'm the only other employee right under him. So basically, again, the same concept that I did at the events, which is I show up and I just try to eliminate issues for other people. I want to take headaches off of other people's minds. I want to simplify their lives. That is my goal in life for people. And so that is basically my job with Tint Wiz, is just taking as much off of Eric's plate, off of my boss's plate, putting it on my plate, executing it, asking as little questions as possible, finding solutions, solving them, and learning from it.
Interesting. So that's including the operations kind of side of the business,
stuff,
or more
absolutely.
of the marketing side, or you're kind of having multiple hats on
100%
at a lot of times.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. So lots of hats, lots of admin stuff, more business stuff, because the goal is that I'm not saying at some point it will happen, but my goal is obviously shooting for the stars. We set goals and have ambitions. So my goal is to have his position someday.
Okay.
His goal is to train me to be able to do that stuff.
Sure.
That's a good management. That's a good, person that wants to see you grow and help you grow. And so over the years, he's given me more and more responsibility, more insight into the actual behind the scenes of the business, which has allowed me to basically, like ISA. ISA is not a show that we typically go to. I was like, hey, my passion is rapping. This is kind of where I started my life, is in this industry. I think there's value in us going to ISA. He said, perfect. If you think it's a good idea, then go for it. Do whatever you want to do. So I'm at a point now where he trusts my decision making.
Sure.
And he kind of just lets me take the ropes. Yeah.
So if you had to pinpoint to just one thing that you feel like a headache you have resolved for him, maybe the thing that you have been the best at, what do you think you would pick? I know that's hard because I'm sure there's multiple, or maybe top
daily,
two or
daily.
something.
I would say the top one, which is he has a kid. I think his kid was just turning 5 months old when I started. And I said from that point forward, I was like, my goal is that you are able to spend more time with your family, more time with your kid. I don't have kids. I'm not having kids. I was like, I want to travel. So I think in the last 2.5 years, he's been to maybe 3 events. And I travel almost once or twice a month.
Wow.
So in the last 2.5 years,
he doesn't have to travel.
He doesn't have to travel.
With his family.
He can be home, relax.
That's very nice.
And so I would say that's probably one of the biggest ones. And then all of just like admin stuff, like we're doing like lots of legal stuff right now. So I've taken a lot of legal stuff off his plate, and I just handle all this stuff that's like, you don't want to deal with that stuff. Nobody wants to deal with it. I want to deal with it. I want to do it. I want to take it off his plate.
That's
it's not
awesome.
fun. It's not always fun, but you do it and you add value to that person's life, and it's gotten me to this position in my life. So
perfect.
Yeah.
So we're going to take a quick break to hear from our sponsors, but when we come back, I want to dive more into basically how you did this transition from owning your own business to working for someone, but absolutely crushing it. It's not like, you're working for someone and making $10 an hour. If we can dive more into that, if that's okay with you.
Absolutely.
Awesome. So stay with us. And while you're listening to our sponsors, go ahead and share this with someone who you think this could benefit, and like and subscribe while you're at it. And we'll be right back.
After years of running a wrap shop, I've learned this. Your supplier should be a partner, not a question mark. That's why we trust Grimco. For over 5 years now, they have delivered on time and backed us when it mattered most. There's enough to manage in this business. Your supplier should not be one of them. Set up your new account today. Use code RAPOPS5 for 5% off your first order with Grimco.
Welcome back to the pod. Thank you so much for staying with us. And we're going to dive right back into that transition period from a shop owner into working for someone else at a high level position and trying to have the owner's spot. So what title would that be? Would you say you're trying to be CEO? Is that the right title we would put there?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay,
yeah,
awesome.
Absolutely.
So if you were to give pieces of advice and break down how you've been able to achieve this, let's kind of break it down to the most simplistic building blocks. So someone's fed up with their shop, it's a headache, it's exhausting, and they want to go kind of back into the working world as a salary employee, if you will. What would you say is your top couple pieces of advice of where they should start?
Absolutely. So I would say that my top pieces of advice for someone who's looking to leave their shop and go into an employee-based environment again is, one, build your business with a system in place so that you don't have to. So I did not do, I did that, but not to the extent that I should have. I didn't have any business experience. So there's a lot of things that I should have done differently.
In your business?
In my business specifically. So much so that I plan on writing a book of some kind or something that's called How Not to Run Your Business.
Love it. You're very ambitious.
Yes.
You got a lot of ideas going on. I love it.
So many ideas, nonstop, and just not enough time. That's the hard part. But so you need to set your business up to have a system in place. So again, I'm going to put a selfless plug in here because I believe in it, because I used it for 4.5 years in my business, and that's using Tint Wiz. Using a CRM in general, something that keeps track of your clients, your projects, before and after pictures, warranties, notes. So like a big thing for me in my business, we're getting a little off topic here,
that's okay,
but was putting notes into projects. So like Jen came in, and Jen has a golden retriever. She loves her golden retriever. Perfect. You put that in the note. Next time Jen comes in, you pull up her project, you be like, hey, Jen, how's your golden retriever doing? Jen is going to love that.
It's really interesting that you don't like sales, because that is such a good piece of sales advice. I bet you're actually a great salesperson without knowing it.
I feel like sales is, you're right. Yeah, it's just a different mindset of sales, I guess.
Yeah,
I don't like to think
we'll talk about
myself
that in a
as a
few
salesperson.
episodes of get rid of the salesperson. Like, I'm trying to sell them and think I'm trying to help them.
Absolutely.
And
you're trying to solve a problem.
And because
Solve
I
a
hated
problem.
sales as well. I was in the same boat, and Andrew's like, you're not selling, you're helping.
That's right.
And that mindset helped me a lot.
You're helping them. You are educating them. So my biggest thing was like, sometimes my solution isn't the best thing.
Yeah.
If you're coming to me for a wrap for your grill on, I don't know, like a Palisade or like something super complicated,
super intricate.
and I'm like, dude, you can replace this grill for
cheaper.
$500, or I wrap it for $600.
Sure.
Or you go get it painted for $400. I'm going to direct you. I'm just going to give you those options. Do whatever you want. I'll wrap it and sit here all day long and wrap it. That's fine. But to have a system in place, and to have open communication with your clients, and to have SOPs, to have good investment in your employees. So if you want your employee to do well, you need to pay them well.
Yes.
You need to have a payment structure. You need to have a growth structure. So they have to know what they are working towards. They have to have skin in the game. So yes, they're not business owners. You can't expect them to do the same that you do, but you definitely have to invest in them. And if you don't invest in them, they're not going to invest in you, and you're going to have a turn rate all day, every day.
So did you have employees at your shop when you owned a shop?
Yep.
And then you started working for Tint Wiz. Did that kind of open your eyes of like, I should have been doing this, and this with my own team back when I had a business? Are you building that now?
I would say not really, because again, the sign shop that hired me initially into this industry, before I opened up my shop, they were the poster child of how any company should be ran with employees in any industry.
Okay.
So they're investing in me. They take a chance on me. They
So you
talk
learn
to
from
me
them.
about growth. Yes. Like absolutely incredible humans. Shout out to Dave and Jen.
What's their business name? Can we drop it?
So they had a Speed Pro. So it's a franchise.
Sure.
So I had the Speed Pro, and now Jen works for ShopVox, which is a CRM software for this industry.
Yeah.
And we actually got acquired by a bigger company. So Tint Wiz and ShopVox are now both owned by Full Steam.
Really?
Correct.
When did this happen?
I think ShopVox probably 6 months ago, 8 months ago,
Oh, okay.
a year ago maybe.
Gotcha.
Us about 5-6 months ago.
Okay.
So they've acquired a lot. They have over 100 businesses now
Interesting.
that they've acquired. So
Yeah.
we actually full circle. We now
Sure.
kind of work for the same company.
Yeah.
All
How
over
weird
again.
is that? But
Yeah.
that's really exciting. Very cool.
It's incredible.
And it's a good thing that you left on good terms.
Exactly.
Because that would have been very
Yes.
awkward if not.
Yeah. So they did such a good job at coaching me, at growing me, that when I left, which again was to move back home, I didn't go to another shop or go look for other pay. I went to another province back home and opened up my wrap shop. They would coach me on how to run my business, or like any issues that I had doing an install, or my printer wasn't working right, or I wanted to hire an employee, what they suggested. So they kind of helped me through that whole transition.
Oh, it's like a mentor. That's awesome.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And so so the transition into Tint Wiz was very similar. Like Eric has taken me under his wing, my boss now, and he's mentored me through the entire process, and he just keeps adding that value. So I guess my biggest advice, if you are going from business owner to employee, is be an employee how you want somebody to be your employee. That's it. You want them to show up on time. You want them to add value. You want them to take problems off your plate. You want them to listen, be eager to learn, be okay with embracing the shitty part of the job, right? Like if you're like, this is not part of my job because it just sounds too hard, you're never going to go anywhere. Like I've worked my way up through this position. I was offered a position that didn't exist based off of who I was.
And it all started from tagging them
It all started
on
from
your
tagging them.
just organic
That's it.
content, which
Yeah.
is crazy cool. So you went from tagging to being a sponsored installer for them to working for them.
Exactly.
So if
Yeah.
someone wanted to kind of go through that progression, which seems like a pretty natural progression,
Mm-hmm.
you could almost do if you, I don't know, if you wanted to work for 3M or a distributor, or there's so many different entities that you could work
Mm-hmm.
for in the industry. How do you think they could get the spot in the booth where you're training other people? What if you could go back in time and give yourself a piece of advice on how to get that? What would you recommend? Would you say the content route, or just walk right up and say, I want to be a trainer? How do I do this? Or
So the biggest thing in life in general is just to add value to people's lives. So like if you want an opportunity, you need to like, what is in it for them?
yes.
Right? Like you just showing up and going, hey, Justin Pate, I want to be in your booth next year. I'm a rapper out of Wisconsin. I like that. I'm just shooting my shot right now. Chances are you're probably not going to go anywhere.
Yeah, you might get that, okay, we'll talk, and then you never hear from them
Exactly.
again type thing.
And so add value, like hit them in their DMs and send some videos. Be like, hey, Justin, like this is me installing.
Sure.
Hey, Justin, this is me posting a reel and it just blew up and it's getting lots of traction. This is me going to all these events. I came to the event last year. I met you. I signed up to your workshop. I'm a subscriber to the Rap Institute. By the way, if you are not subscribed to the Rap Institute, subscribe to it and use Tint Wiz 15 for 15% off.
Or use Rap Ops 15. we have a debate here.
I love
It's
that.
okay. That's hilarious.
I love it.
We're both like promo partners, but that's a good testament to the Rap Institute.
Exactly.
That we all are trying to promote
huge.
them and get them out there. It's
Absolutely.
funny. He's come up in almost every episode. Someone has shouted out just
No way. I
So
love
if
it.
that doesn't show you the character of him, I don't really know what else does.
Yeah. And,
So-
and that's exactly it. It's just adding value, like me plugging. I don't have to do that. Like they've given me
Yeah.
a discount code. I'm not expected to use it.
Right.
And I've been plugging it all the time. I've been bringing people to their booth all the time.
Yes.
And so, it's just about adding value to people's lives. So hit their DMs, but post content. Like you putting yourself in front of a camera, you putting yourself in uncomfortable situations is the thing that's going to open up opportunities for you. There's not one opportunity that I've had in my life that I've not put myself in an uncomfortable position.
Yes.
Like I'm not asking for stuff, but I'm putting myself in an uncomfortable position. Maybe talking to somebody that
Sure.
I look up to. Like I've looked up to Justin from before I got into the industry.
Oh, wow.
I was watching the Rap
Yeah.
Institute and going up to him. So I knew I wanted to come to ISA. I was like, we're just going to walk around, get a vibe for it, see if it's valuable.
When is this? Is this show or
This
this
show.
is? Oh, this show.
Yeah. And then I started talking to Marcos
Yes.
from the Rap Institute, amazing guy. And he was like, hey, like, I think that you should collaborate with us and be part of the demo depot. And I was like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, like, I think that would be great. I think you guys are super awesome and you guys add lots of value. And we'll have a meeting next week with Justin and talk about it. I'm like, Justin who? It's like, Justin Pate. I'm like, what is going on right now?
nice.
Like, what is this?
Yeah.
So it feels like a dream for me all the time. And it's only because I talk to people. I put myself out there. They see me on content. So my biggest piece of advice is just put yourself out there and in comfortable positions.
Yeah, and I think what's the worst case that happens? Maybe someone makes fun of you that you know personally, which screw them.
Yeah.
Or, I don't know, the person you're trying to get in front of doesn't respond. Like, you're not going to die.
Exactly. And
I have to remind myself that. Like,
the
I'm not going to
reality-
die if this blows up. It'll be fine.
100%. And the reality too is the people in the comments or the people rejecting you are not the people that are paying your bills.
Right.
So if you're scared of posting even content of like you wrapping a car and you're scared of what people are going to say in the comments, they are not paying your bills.
Yes.
People paying your bills are the clients that are watching you wrap that car. They're the ones that are coming in and paying you. So
Sure.
build content for the clients, add value, and then tag, like if you're using Yellow Tools, tag Yellow Tools in
Tag
that.
'em, yes.
If you're using Avery, tag Avery in there. Like
they'll
growth comes
repost
through
and remember.
collaboration. This is growth through collaboration, right? Like we're going to support each other now. I'm going to
Sure.
promote your page. You're going to promote Tint with
Yeah.
that's just how it is. And so when good people come together, add value, as I would say in my old shop, the sky is no longer the limit. Like we're aiming for past the sky. Like we're past that,
That's a good soundbite.
Yeah.
That'll be our Instagram reel.
I love that.
That's awesome. And then also back to the content of, if you have like haters in your comments, and I'll give credit to Andrew on this. He always said how exciting we're so big that we have haters.
Exactly.
Like it's all about your mindset and framing it. And so
Yeah.
if you're getting hate comments because you have so many comments on your video, that's awesome.
Keep doing
like
it.
be excited. And what is it? 2 comments out
That's
of
right.
hundreds,
Yeah.
So I think that is super cool as well. So now when you stepped into this role with Tint Wiz, how difficult was it to give up the reins from, you were able to kind of make your own schedule and completely be in charge to now you kind of report to someone? Was that transition hard, or how did you prepare for that?
I mean, to be honest, the hardest part was for me, imposter syndrome.
Okay.
So feeling like, why me? Why am I getting paid this amount? Why was I given this opportunity? What did I do to deserve this? Why? And I just broke myself down all the time. So that took some getting used to, that I am deserving of this. I did do a good job. I am a good person. I did do all these positive things.
Yeah.
So I do deserve this position. But the transition from being your own boss, the funny part is when I started my shop, I was like, I'm gonna have, I'm gonna take a Saturday off. I'm gonna go spend it with my girlfriend. We're gonna have a good weekend, all this kind of stuff. And it turned into me sleeping at the shop 3 days in a row to finish projects, not going home for days on end, her coming to the shop, us having sleepovers in the bay because she hasn't seen me in days. And the sacrifice that comes along with that is not that of, oh, I work a 9 to 5.
Yes.
Like that's, you're living the dream. If you work a 9 to 5 and you want weekends off and time off to spend with your family, do not start a business.
I totally agree. It's kind of like the little business owner conundrum. Everyone starts their own business to get freedom, but I feel owning a business is the most like enslaved I've ever felt.
Yes, absolutely.
I joke all the when I'm at my breaking point. I'm like, I wish I worked at McDonald's.
Yeah, right.
Like
I'm the same way.
I want to just do something and go
Yes.
home at the end of the day.
Yeah,
But you can never turn your brain off. It's exhausting.
Exactly. And
So,
I
yeah.
told my girlfriend that. I was like, probably like halfway through the business, I was like, all I want to do, because we lived on like a 3-acre property in the country. I was like, all I want to do at this point is work at McDonald's or something, it doesn't matter, and live in an apartment. I have no grass to cut, no chores,
Yep.
no business. I don't want a phone anymore. I don't want social media. I don't want anything.
Yeah.
I just want to simplify my life. But the reality is, like, us entrepreneurs, that mindset, and whether you're an entrepreneur and you have your own business, or like myself, you just have that entrepreneur mindset. I don't own my own business, but I'm running Tint Wiz like it's my own business. I
Yeah.
care for it like it's my own business.
Yeah.
So that goes a long way. And the reality is, we're not going to be able to go work at McDonald's and feel fulfilled, and we're going fishing on the weekend. It's
Yeah.
not going to work.
It
We're
won't
still
work.
going to be like, well, what do we do next? Well, I'm bored. I want to go do something else.
Yeah.
That's why we're business owners or entrepreneurs.
Yeah, and I think that's a great nugget there of you can be an entrepreneur, but not completely start from scratch and do your own thing. And I think specifically in the wrap industry, from what we have seen, it's so hard to, especially get high level employees. So we're doing okay finding, kind of installers and the production team, but trying to find someone who's interested in growing the company and management and leading a group of people has been very tough. And so if that's a skill set that maybe you have that you could bring to someone else's business, I mean, negotiate pay, because the sky's the limit.
It's
or
invaluable.
before that on that, because we can't find those people.
Yeah.
So there's multiple avenues you could go down. And I think a big thing that you said was sit down and assess, what do you actually want? If you want your weekends off, well, what occupation, what career could get you that?
100%.
So I think that's super cool, because it just seems like everyone in the industry is like, I'm going to do my own thing. And we have 100 million one-man shows.
Yeah. And the
Versus
reality,
all of us collaborating and making something big together.
exactly. And the reality too is, when you own your own business, as much freedom as you think you might have, you become a slave, like you said,
Yeah.
basically to the client.
Yes.
Like, it is the most contradictory thing of freedom. It's like, no, when they text you, you should be answering. Like, I'm
Yeah.
answering calls at 10 o'clock at night. I'm sending out proposals at 1 a.m, because that is my paycheck.
Yeah.
I need to answer that. Like, yes, I should have, I should have boundaries and be like, you know what, when I go home, it's family time. But when you're growing a business for the first 3 years,
Oh, yeah.
you should be dedicated 100% of your time to growing that business. And then once it gets stable,
Then
you have
you can-
employees, you meet somebody that's going to try to take over the business, then sure, transition and start taking some weekends off or a day off or leave early or something. But
That's kind of
yeah.
like a goal to work towards, but it doesn't come quick. I think
No.
a lot of people, they might leave that business, start their own business, and think, I'm going to go on a vacation first year. And it's
Right.
like, this is the closest we get to vacation is
Yeah.
these shows.
Yeah.
We're like, well, we're in Florida. We're not outside in the sun, but we're
Right?
here.
Yeah. And the whole time it's raining too.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, of course, it's
Yeah.
rain. I even booked a little place with a pool thinking I could
Oh,
maybe
no.
half day go to the pool. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, that ain't going to work. But it's okay.
Yeah.
All is good. Well, awesome. Well, I really appreciate this conversation. Is there anything that you would like to shout out or say to close us out here?
I mean, the biggest thing for me is to find something you enjoy doing in life, even if you're going to be making less money, and just follow that dream. And I guarantee to you that you'll either make the money that you need
Yes.
in that position, being happy, or it'll open up opportunities to making the more money and also being happy. So just chase happiness don't chase money.
I love it.
Yeah.
Kado, everybody, with Tint Wiz. Thank you so much for
Thank
being
you.
on the pod. And again, if you are not subscribed, please click that subscribe button and share this with someone. I'm sure I got 3 people in my mind right now that I'm going to personally text this episode to. And we'll catch you in the next episode.
The Wrap Institute, the largest online wrap training platform, now with a special offer. Use our code RAPOPS15 for 15% off your order.